Fighting. Welcome back everyone for another video of Virtual Warfare, a text-based roleplay fighting tutorial series. And in today's video we're going to be learning how to T1 fight, and this is going to be part 3 of how to T1 fight. And this lesson is going to be about data, or how to detail certain things. So in this video we'll be learning the different types of data, and we'll be looking and seeing how these different types of data fit into the roleplay world, or see how it looks like in a roleplay post. But for me personally, roleplay fighting is very difficult to teach because there's a lot of things that need to be said, and you will want to make sure everything is said in order for the learner to know what's being talked about, instead of just saying, all you got to do is do this and just leave the person to do it. I guess in virtual warfare we try to teach people in a step-by-step process so people can know exactly what to do and at the right time, so people won't be lost, so people won't make assumptions on how to roleplay fight. So to me, this lesson is not very organized because it's a lot and it's hard for me to just organize a lot. But for you guys, it might be the perfect, pattern. So if you just follow along, that's the best way you'll be able to learn. Just follow along and you'll understand. Okay, first we're going to look at the 5 basic commands for basic combat, because with these commands you'll be able to build on each one. So I like to call these commands the skeleton of I guess your roleplay attack or your roleplay post or whatever you call it. It's the skeleton of it. So I'm trying to just spend too much time on the video, so you can just read the post yourself. I got the my approach, what hand I'm using to attack with, my target, so everything is there. If you don't know what the 5 commands are, you can look at the link in the description below. Now that we see what the 5 commands look like, now we can see what the 5 commands look like when measurements are added or more detail is added. And this type of data I like to call it the flesh, or just the flesh. It makes up or puts the icing on the battle data, which is the commands. So now you can have measurements for the commands. How fast, how strong, how far something is away from something. So now you have a bigger and better picture of what's actually going on. So you can see right here for the approach, you can see that a measurement of speed was added, and you can see right here for the withdraw of the sword that another speed was added, and you can see that you can see the data for these commands that's being written down. We also have to be careful not to add too much data, and people would call this filler. You just add in data or just add in detail just to make your post long, or just to make your role play more exciting, or whatever the case may be. You don't want to put too much detail to where people just think that you're just adding stuff just to add it. So we can look at an example right here. So we have the battle data, which is, he moves his hand over to grab his sword. That's all it is. I don't have to explain anything else. I'm moving my hand over to grab my sword. Now, if you look on to the other side, we have filler data, which is way more detailed. So you can read it. It says his fingers uncoil as his left hand slips to his right side, fluidly coiling his fingers around the hilt, squeezing it tightly to prepare to withdraw it, feeling the cold material on his palm, bringing back childhood memories of practicing all day long, using that to build courage in himself and potential strength to overcome his opponent. See, this is, with this one command, by me grabbing my sword, you can add so much detail. You can make a book about it. There's so much detail, you can just make a book. But all that detail is not necessary. Just the detail that gets your point across. Now there are detail where you can use to just enhance your role play, make it more beautiful, and it's okay. But just to add stuff, just try to get the upper hand, or just to make your post longer, is something that we want to try to avoid, because not only does is just add extra detail, it makes it seem like you have to have a lot of detail in order for your role play to be spectacular. And that's not true. You know, just as long as you get your point across, you know, that's kind of like the best role play there is. You know, you don't want to read a story or read a book and it takes too long to get to the point. You know, you want to at least have some type of leeway to where you know what's happening, you know. And you know, I think we should do this with our role play fighting. So according to Virtual Warfare, this is what different types of data looks like, you know. So we can look right here. We have battle data, which are things only pertaining to battle, you know, your hand, you know, the target, you know, distance, stuff like that. We have battle filler, which is breaking down details for more details, you know. Will be explained, or we looked at earlier about how the you can add measurements and you can just add like just more stuff to the role play to make it spectacular. And we have unnecessary filler, which things that's, you know, it makes the role play looks good, but it does not help you at all with your role play ability. So it's when you state about colors and smells and lighting to make your role play post, you know, more grander or longer, you know, just to make it pop or whatever. And we have cheated filler, which is when you try to use the storyline or lore to enhance your character's performance. And then this is actually cheating, because, you know, that could be anything. I could say, I look at the ground and I remember dirt, and it gives me flashbacks of my childhood memories, and this anger overwhelms me, and I get this power out of nowhere. Like, you know, you just can't. This is cheating, you know. It's cheating. And a lot of people agree that you can do it, and a lot of people say you can't do it, you know. And for me, I personally don't agree with it, because you don't need to. You don't need to have your storyline back up your abilities, you know. You just don't need to, you know. You have everything you need in your character, so that's cheating filler. So we can actually look at each category of the data that fits into it. So we have battle data, where it says he moves his hand over to grab his sword, so that's battle data. That's all you need. And we have battle filler, which is giving more detail about what's happening. His fingers uncoil as his left hand slips to the right side, fluently coiling his fingers around the hilt, squeezing it tightly to prepare to withdraw. So we have battle filler. Then we have the unnecessary filler, which is filling the cool material in his palm, bringing back childhood memories of practicing all day long. You know, that's something that you don't need to state. It just makes the role play look good. And you have cheating filler, which is, you know, what says using that to build courage in himself and potential strength to overcome his opponent. You know, you know, there's certain details it's okay to put, in certain details where if you put, it just seems like you're cheating, you're trying to extend your post, and, you know, you just don't need it. Like all in all, like, no one can tell anyone how to role play. No one can tell anyone how to role play. But there are ways of efficient role play, and this is something that I just want people to understand, so they don't have to go into role play or role play battles and just think that they need to summon all these different words just to seem like they're a good fighter or a good role player. You know, it's not even about that. You know, now I used to role play with all these complicated words and big words just to sound smart, you know. But I realized that I wasn't really getting my point across, because I was trying to sound smart, but people wasn't really understanding me. Then I understood that, you know, it's better to use simple words and simple wording, so now everyone can understand, and, you know, no one can have an excuse to say, oh, I didn't understand you, or blah blah blah. You know, now you can actually see what's happening and plain and simple. You know, there's no excuse for you to complain. There's no excuse for you to say that I'm cheating and I'm trying to confuse you. It's just out there plain and simple. So I just encourage people to just use the battle data and use the battle filler, and just use a little bit of, you know, the unnecessary filler, just to make the role play, you know, normal, you know, or role play more that's understandable. Now that we have the different types of data and different types of detail, we can see the last one, which is the clothes, you know, which is pretty much the icing on the cake. You know, we have the skeleton, you know, the structure and the stability, and we have the flesh, which is, you know, the muscle, and the skin, which helps the bones move, the structure move, and we have the clothes, which makes the structure, the body looks okay, makes it looks good, makes it looks, you know, acceptable, makes the role play stand out. So you can see right here in this layout, right here, it pretty much speaks for itself. So you can see, for example, let's say the last command, which would be the result. So we can see, says, attempted to crack the skull open and sever the hemisphere of his brain, using just enough effort to cause damage and still be in control of his blade if blocked or avoided. So we have the command, which is the attempted the result, and we have the measurement of the result, or the more detailed result, which is you know, effort and how much energy to use when swinging the blade. And we have the extra details, or the close, which makes the role play stand out. You can read it. It says, if successful, I win the battle, of course, and we'll add some extra roleplay aesthetics here just to look good. If not, I'll draw my sword back really quickly and prepare to counter strike with a move I'll figure out once I'll see my opponent attack. But for now, defense mode. And you know, I wrote that because a lot of people use those type of methods to prepare for a next attack or defend themselves for the next turn, and it was just kind of funny, so it probably wasn't that funny. But anyway, moving on. So we can look at the reminder of everything we just learned, which is probably, you know, hopefully enough, but disorganized. We can look at the first command, which was the approach, you know, and command is the skeleton. So anytime you think about the 5 commands, you think about the commands being a skeleton. So you can see that he approached his opponent in a steady jog, and you see the measurements around that, which is the flesh. You know, upon taking off slowly, he approached his opponent in a steady jog, traveling about 5 miles per hour. You know, so we can see the flesh over the skeleton. And we have the clothes, which is the aesthetics, and we can see that the dirt and the gravel beneath him caused his footsteps to make a soft crumbling sound upon taking off slowly as he approached his opponent in a steady jog, traveling about 500 miles per hour. His form breezing through the cool winds as his silken hair followed in his wake. You know, so we can see everything put together how it's supposed to be. You know, we have the skeleton, we have the flesh, we have the clothes. You know, so this is what a role play post can look like. I'm not gonna say it's supposed to look like, because you know, you can role play however you want, but this is how it can look like. You know, and you should do this for every command, or every command should have flesh and it should have clothes. You know, if you do this for every command, you don't have to worry about trying to add extra details or trying to add unnecessary details just to make, you know, your role play stand out or make it look cooler. You know, just follow these methods, and you know you'll be able to do it without even thinking. You know, but practice makes perfect. So you have to practice writing like this, and you know, once you start writing like this, after a while, it just becomes a habit. You'll start doing all the commands like that. You only have to think about it; it just becomes easy. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You know, there's nothing else to say about I guess what we learned. I'm sorry it's not the best video. I'm not very good at making videos or doing any of this stuff, but I like roleplay fighting. I like to teach roleplay fighting, and this is like one of the fastest and most efficient ways to do it. So I'm going to do it this way, even though I probably look stupid or I sound stupid, or it doesn't matter, because I'm trying to help people, and that's all that matters. And I just want to thank everybody for subscribing to my channel, and just thanking me for making these videos and telling me that, you know, it really helped, and you know, it means a lot. You know, it just encouraged me just to make more videos and just get these out there. I know I said that before, but you know, it really touches me a lot, and I just wanted to mention that as much as I can. I just want to say that for me personally, this is a very important lesson. This is a method that I still use today, and I just want to encourage people to, like, if you don't understand it, just, you know, hit me up, or, you know, look at the video over again and try to understand it. You know, I'm sorry if I can't explain it the best way, but this is a very important video. I just encourage people to just look into it and try to understand it the best way they can. And also, there will be more videos, of course, in the future, but I don't think I'll be making any more lessons because it takes a lot. It's a lot of editing and a lot of just writing down things, and it's just it's too much to do at this time in my life. So, but I will be making videos, and I guess it will be about just discussing things and having talks about certain roleplay concepts and roleplay problems, or whatever the case may be, whatever people want me to talk about or want me to explain, and I start explaining it. So I think I'll be making more videos about that. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And thanks for watching, and like I say, everybody, next time, deuces.